Coming up, the Kyocera Hydro Vibe. Sounds like a toothbrush, but it's not. Plus, can you connect a monitor via USB? Aaron Newcomb will tell us. And then Mike Elgin with some fitness bands, and I've got the latest laptop from HP. It's all ahead. Time to watch before you buy.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Before You Buy is brought to you by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com. Before You Buy is brought to you by iFixit. You can fix it, and iFixit makes it easy with free step-by-step repair guides, high-quality replacement parts, and all the tools you'll need. For $10 off your purchase of $50 or more, go to iFixit.com/twit and enter the offer code BEFOREYOUBUY at checkout. And by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, visit audiblepodcasts.com/beforeyoubuy.
Boom, 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 boom. Welcome to Before You Buy, the Twit show where we get the greatest and most interesting products. We bring them in-house. We let our staff bang on them like small monkeys and give you an experience of what it'd be like to actually own a product like this. When it comes to Android phones, nobody knows more than Jason Howell, the producer of Tech News Tonight.
I like the sound of
Tech
that.
News Today, and, of course, the host of All About Android.
Yeah.
So we always give him the Android phones, although I'm holding out for the LG G3 when that comes.
Yeah, it looks pretty fantastic.
That's an interesting phone.
Yes.
In this case, you got the Hydro Vibe.
This is where my job is particularly challenging, right? Because I have my hands in the best Android devices, top of the line, high-end specs. And when you're handed a phone that's kind of low to mid-range, you can't compare them to the high range or the high-end specs, right? Because people that are buying a phone like the Hydro Vibe, it's $150 off contract, maybe $20 on contract. Maybe they just don't have the money to spend on high-end specs. So it's how much value do you get for the money that you do pay.
In many ways, it's a shame that the phone market is so focused on specs and high-end. These are, in general, very competent phones. It's an Android phone. What version of Android is that?
This is Android 4.3, so it's Jelly Bean. It's still kind of behind the curve. It's not quite KitKat yet, but it is Jelly Bean, and Jelly Bean's not a bad version of the Android OS necessarily. Hopefully, it gets updated at some point. It's a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon. 1.5 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of internal storage, though it does have a micro SD card slot. I believe it's behind the battery cover. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I actually couldn't figure out how to get the cover off. Every time I try, I feel like I'm going to snap it.
But that's good news. A removable battery.
Yes.
I actually like that. I look for that. Yep.
2,000 milliamp hour removable battery. There's an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera on the back. 2 megapixel front-facing camera. You'll notice that there's no hole up here for the ear, right? And that's
where's the headphone jack?
It's a smart sonic. Oh, well, the headphone jack is up on the top.
Oh, well, what are you talking about then?
So I'm talking about your earphone for making calls.
Yeah.
It's not up there. Basically, it's done through what they call a smart sonic receiver. It uses vibrations to transmit the sound through your ear cartilage.
Wait a minute. Basically, they're saying we were too cheap to cut through the case? I don't understand. What are they saying?
It vibrates the whole phone, and that vibration actually amplifies it even in noisy.
How does that work?
Okay. It's a little tinny.
Can you hear?
Yeah, you can hear. You can hear, and it sounds all right.
It's good, fine for phone calls. Probably not so great for listening to music.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hold. Well,
you're going to have to press the phone to your ear.
Hopefully, you're not going to press the phone up to your ear to listen to music necessarily.
Is there a there is an earphone jack?
There is a speaker on the back.
Okay.
But I'm talking about straight up phone calls.
Interesting.
It does that vibration. Kind of interesting approach. It does have wireless charging. It's a Power Matters Alliance PMA enabled wireless charging, so that's kind of nifty. It's LTE capable. It's IP57. That's water and resistant, or water and dust resistant. That's why it's called the Hydro Vibe. So behind the battery case on the outside, it actually seals it up on the inside so you can get it wet.
I love the slogan, live more, fear less.
Well, the screen, they also say, is kind of impact resistant. So it's a little extra toughness there.
Dr. Mom's asking in the chat room, is a good question. Is there a speakerphone mode? I guess because there's a speaker on the back, you can still use it
yeah.
in speakerphone mode.
I would
it's
imagine
just that
there
most
is.
of the time when you have the phone up to your head, you're going to use this.
What do you do when you need to call a fake number?
Let's see.
555-1212.
Put it in a speakerphone. Can we?
Speaker on. Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Okay. It's there.
It worked. All right.
I noticed with calls just in general, the call quality wasn't that great. It was a little kind of, I don't know, like I said, a little tinny to hear, and just in general, it's hard to not, it's hard to resist knocking Sprint, only because Sprint coverage here is really poor. So it's kind of hard to put it on a level playing field. In San Francisco, I was there for a day and used it a couple of times, and it still was kind of iffy there as well.
Is this Sprint only?
It's Sprint, primarily Sprint, and it's Virgin, if I'm not mistaken.
So it is a CDMA.
Yep.
Okay. Right.
Now, so let's see here. So the display, it's not a super duper high res. It's 960 by 540. It's a 4.5-inch IPS QHD display, so that's about 245 pixels per inch. But I thought the display was actually kind of one of the stronger suits. It doesn't have to be super high res, and being, I can't believe that I'm going to consider 4.5 inches a smaller screen, but in this day and age, I do.
Still bigger than the iPhone.
So the resolution holds up at that size. I got to say the camera, and you could load up a few of those samples that I put into the TriCaster. The camera is a big Achilles heel on this phone. It was outdoors. This was probably one of the better photos that I got. Still kind of a little, just kind of dull, washed out.
Drab, yeah.
Yeah, I really tried, because if you can see in this photo, it's a dog carrying another dog in a backpack.
You can't see that very well, can you?
And I tried to get the best picture possible, and there's a lag when I'd hit the shutter. You think you hit it, and then about half second to a second later, it would finally go off. It was just kind of flat. It couldn't really catch its autofocus very well. Depended on, I got a couple of good photos. This is definitely not one of them. This is super dark. And then the video, and this was indoors with pretty ample light, and it just kind of came out blurry. So this is fun. Watch this one.
It's very shaky.
Are
you on a?
It's a little exciting here when
heck?
you suddenly end up on a roller coaster. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but I don't like what I saw.
No.
Anyways,
wow.
I did record other video and they didn't do this, but it's probably good, important to point this out. All in all, not very impressed with the camera performance, but performance of the system in general, pretty great. Like I said, it's a quad-core Snapdragon processor. I was gaming. I did Riptide GP2, which has a high, a lot of action going on on the screen at once, and it handled it really well. What else? Standby time was really bad. At least I thought it was bad. Other reviews don't seem to point it out, but I would, if I left it unplugged overnight, which I like to do with test phones just to see how they do, this one would be really low by the end of the night.
That's not good.
But the battery performance, when I was operating it and using it regularly, did all right. It got me through the day. So I'm not sure why that would be different between standby and regular use.
So let's do the pros and cons.
Yes, let's get there. Pros, obviously, what it's all about: dust, water, impact resistance. That's great. LTE for $150. When you compare it to the Moto E at $129, that's 3G, and the Moto G at $179, which is 3G.
Right.
So if LTE is important to you, you got it here. There is a hardware camera button if you so choose to use the camera.
It's awfully thick too. Look at that.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of thickness.
Yeah.
I kind of expect that on the lower end phones though, for whatever reason. But I kind of like the fact that there's a hardware camera button, and the wireless charging, of course, is pretty cool for this price point.
Qi charging, standard?
No. It's what is it? Power Matters Alliance, PMA enabled. Wireless
so that's
charging.
a separate kind of charging.
Yeah. But nifty nonetheless. Cons, definitely the camera, and I'd say the battery for the most part gave me reason to be concerned. Overall, like I said, it's hard to review a device like this when you're used to reviewing high-end devices. I probably have to give it a try, only because of where it sits in the price point between phones that we know are pretty darn good, like the Moto G, and I haven't played with the Moto E yet, but everything that I've read and heard about it says that it's pretty good for the price. So, LTE kind of stands out, as well as just being impact, dust, and water resistant. And just to prove it, just because I like to do this.
No.
I'll go ahead and take this gigantic twit mug. Yes,
you are brave.
And the ports don't have covers, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll get it in there.
And it's dead.
Oh, it's doing stuff.
No,
look at that.
That's not good.
Yeah, well.
Well, there you go. The Kyocera Toxic Hell Stew.
This is
version.
This is the Toxic House 2
You
right
just
here.
made some right there. All right, all about Android tonight, 5 o'clock. Android App Arena. Say it again, Tuesday.
No, so it's Fridays at 1 p.m.
And is that going to be
Pacific.
the regular time?
That's going to be the live time. It'll post later that day.
Very good.
Premieres on the 13th of Friday. There we go.
This is the open for it?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
Who
pretty
did the
awesome.
stop motion?
Eden Soto
Eden,
did,
you rock.
did the graphics for us.
Android App
man.
Arena.
Yeah, super.
Boom. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Do you have one of these? You must have one of these by now.
I do.
The
I've
iFixit
used
toolkit.
it. I love it.
Anybody who has a phone or any device and wants to fix it themselves has to know about iFixit. iFixit is the free online repair manual for everything. I mean, not just phones, iPhone screens, red ring of death on your Xbox, swapping the battery in your Galaxy S3. iFixit has you covered. And even refrigerators and lawnmowers. You can find manuals at iFixit.com. 10,000 repair guides. Even clothing, your bike, your tablet, your game console. And they've got the parts you'll need. Everything they sell is tested and guaranteed. They also make the most trusted repair tools for consumer electronics, including the tech kit that, you know, this is my litmus test. If you can look at this and not drool, then you are not a geek. But every geek I know would look at this and go, well, wait a minute, is that a spudger? Are you talking, you have Torx bits? Oh my goodness, the iFixit, look at how many bits are in here. This is the 54-bit driver kit, including Phillips, big and small, Pentalobe, that's the new Macintosh and iPhone screwdriver. Apple does this every time. Torx and Torx security bits. The Tri-Wing bit, which is for video game consoles, and even a triangle bit that's, guess what? What's that for? McDonald's toys. You can you can fix anything with this. And of course, you attach the bit to the swivel top precision driver with the flex extension, which allows you to get into screws in areas where you can't normally turn a screwdriver. It's ESD, of course, safe. Precision tweezers for delicate manipulation. Anti-static wrist strap. The spudgers, nylon. The metal spudger. This, if you've got a geek in your life, I'm telling you, Father's Day is coming up. Forget the tie.
Yeah,
this
good
is
Father's Day
the
gift
best
right
Father's
there.
Day gift ever.
Absolutely.
And, you know, even if Dad doesn't fix stuff and doesn't know how to fix stuff, he'll be so flattered that you thought he could. He'll go, why? You think I can use this? This is, what is this, a dental tool? And he could say, no, Dad, because I know you're the greatest dad in the world. You could fix anything. Every dad should have this in his pocket. This is the perfect Father's Day gift. $64 backed by a lifetime warranty, $64.95. I'm going to tell you, you could save a little bit, though, by the way, if you stay tuned for a moment. So, what is the takeaway? What points to remember here? iFixit.com for 10,000 plus manuals. iFixit.com/twit. You can use the offer code before you buy and save $10 on any purchase of $50 or more. That means the Fix-It kit qualifies. That is, now it is $54.95, but you got to use the offer code before you buy. This is an awfully nice gift. I'll tell you, there's no dad in the world, no geek in the world who wouldn't be. And look how nice it is. You can carry it like a clutch. iFixit.com/twit. Aaron Newcomb. We know Aaron. We love Aaron. He's been all about Android. Awesome. He is a regular on This Week in Google, and he helps Randall Schwartz frequently on Floss Weekly. He is a great guy, from a maker himself, always interested in hacks. He said, you know, this AOC USB monitor, I've been reading a lot about it. I'm very curious. This is the latest version of the monitor. Yes, USB monitor at a very affordable price. We had to find out. Aaron, what do you think?
Hey, Aaron Newcomb here with another review for Before You Buy. This time it's the AOC 16-inch monitor from AOC. The specific model number, if you're looking for this online, is E1659FWU. And at the time of this recording, it's about $130 on Amazon, although people have reported that it does get a little bit cheaper from time to time. So put this on your price watch if you're interested later. So this is a 16-inch screen. It's a USB monitor. So you can actually connect this to USB. There's no additional power required or even capable. You can't even plug additional power into this monitor. The resolution is 1366 by 768, and it has a 500:1 contrast ratio, so not bad. It's got a foldable stand in the back, which is really nice. And this stand allows you to rotate the monitor either horizontal or vertical position. So if you like to do vertical, you can actually set this up vertically like this. And it works really well. The monitor stand folds into the back of the monitor, so there's no additional things you need to screw in or plug in. It's just really the monitor stand and the USB cable. This does support USB 3.0, which is really nice. You get that nice high-speed display for all the information that's being sent from your host machine. There is another model I just have to mention that's available on Amazon as well, and it's a little bit cheaper. It's $90, but this particular model is a lot nicer because it is a lot thinner. The other model that's available is quite thick. It does have USB 3.0, and it has a brighter panel with better contrast resolution or contrast ratio, so that's going to be great for you. This particular panel also gives you the VESA mount, so if you're going to mount this on the wall, it has a 75mm VESA mount, which a lot of people are looking for, so they don't have to rest it on their desk. They can actually mount it up on the wall. Also, this model comes with a nice little carrying case. It's a nice little padded foam carrying case. But you know, really for a 16-inch monitor, a lot of backpacks have a special place for a tablet. You might be able to sneak this monitor into that little place in your backpack. It's a little big, but I think you could make it work. All right, so let's get into what's great about this little monitor. What's great is the simple installation. So for Windows, really all you have to do is plug it in to your USB port, and you'll see that Windows goes out, automatically finds the right drivers to install, and then there is a specific driver for all the settings and things for this monitor that gets launched automatically when you plug it in. So not only does it load the driver automatically in Windows, it installs the necessary software, because I should mention all of the controls for this are on screen. There are no hard controls. There's no power button, there's no menu button. It's all in software. So whether you like that or not might be something you should keep in mind as you're looking at this monitor. And that's it. That's really it. The downsides to this monitor really are, I tried to get this working on Linux. I was really hoping to be able to use this on Raspberry Pi. As you know, I'm a big maker, and that having a portable, huge display like this would be great. But I spent hours recompiling kernels and trying to get Raspberry Pi to work. It just didn't work. I couldn't get it to work. There's been mixed results on the internet. If you're a Linux user, you may not want to get this particular monitor because it's going to be hard to set up for you, at least for the time being. For Mac users, there are drivers available. You shouldn't have any problems for Mac. The other downside to this monitor is, it might be hard to tell on the screen, but it is a little washed out. The colors are a little washed out. They're crisp, they're just not bright and vibrant. So you'll definitely notice a difference if you have a normal monitor mount attached to your host, and you compare it with this one. This one's going to look a little washed out. But maybe for a portable design like this, that's, you know, you can give up a little bit on the colors and just go with a high quality, a high definition monitor for things like coding or working in your email or whatever. All right, so let's get to the pros and cons. Pros. This easy Windows installation for sure. Very easy to set up in Windows. A decent looking display, like I said, a little washed out on the color side, but the resolution is there. No additional power required. Everything runs off the USB, which is great, and it's also very low cost. If you compare this to other models on Amazon, you'll see that this one's usually $20 to $30 less than those other models, which is great. As far as cons, limited support for Linux and slightly more difficult installation for Mac. And the build quality is actually pretty good, but not the best, right? So you're not going to get metal edges here. This is all plastic. There's actually some threads that are sticking out over here. I noticed, and those are coming from inside the monitor. It wasn't something I snagged on my t-shirt or something. It's actually something that's bleeding or coming out of the cracks here from inside the monitor. So, you know, build quality is not the best, but hey, you get what you're paying for, right? All right, so my recommendation with this product is a definite try. If you're a Windows user, it's a buy, right? Go out and buy it, love it, it's great. If you're a Linux or a Mac user, you may want to think about getting something else though. So that's my recommendation. Check it out online, and thanks for watching.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron Newcomb. A solid try on the AOC USB monitor. I have the earlier, much earlier, like 2-year-old version of that, and it failed. It stopped working at one point for me. But you know what? At that price, you know, a try isn't exactly the end of the world. Mike Elgin is here, our news director, and a guy who's really taken our news programming to the next level, and I really appreciate it. We stole him away from the world.
The world, yeah, the world.
Got him to settle in Petaluma.
Didn't really miss me that much. I found out the hard way.
Hosts TNT Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1700 UTC. He also is, well, you were a host on I'd Fund That. That was fun.
That's right.
Filled in for me on Twitter on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Did you enjoy that?
Hard, but it was fun. You
Love
make it look
that show.
so easy, but
Yeah,
it's not
you know,
easy.
it's the hardest show I do every week.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
I was
exhausting.
exhausted afterwards.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, it's our big show and it's a fun show to do.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that for me.
Thank you.
You have been, you're a health nut, obviously.
I
You
am.
look at the guy, he's 73 years old. He doesn't look
That's
a
right.
day over 40. And he has been testing out a health band for
73 is the new 71.
us. What health bands have you tried?
Well, I've tried a few of them. None of them. So I'll say right off the top of the bat, I don't like health bands in general or quantified computing in general, simply because people tend to use it as an alternative to getting in shape. You got to go outside and exercise, and you have to eat right. That's the most important part. If you want to measure that, that's great as well.
But these don't measure how you eat. In
That's
fact, they only measure a few fitness exercises.
That's right. So this, what I'm wearing here, is the Garmin Vivofit fitness band. And I thought I wouldn't like this because this is pretty low tech. Now, if you look at this closely, that's a reflective display.
It's not backlit.
It's not backlit. And so it's very low power, which turns out to be a benefit.
Yeah.
So let me just go through some of the basics of this. This is a $130 device.
Okay.
It's $169 with a heart rate monitor. This is the heart rate monitor right
Oh,
here.
you have to wear a strap like a
this on.
polar heart rate monitor?
That's right. And I don't care for these either unless you're training for the Olympics or something like that. But we'll get into that in just a second.
I've worn them at the gym, but you certainly want to around during the day. On the other hand, that's much more accurate way to measure.
That is absolutely true. So you see this, and then there are all these other bands here that you can get.
Colorful,
you get multiple colors.
beautiful.
So And okay, so what it shows is okay, we're looking at the time here. Let's see if I can angle this. There we go. So the time, and you have the date, and you have the heart rate monitor information, which I don't have, and then you have the number of steps you've taken since today. I reset this earlier today, so it's not quite. I'm not quite as lazy as it looks like I am.
I was going to say you've really been walking.
And this is my steps goal, 6,700 goal, and we'll get into the goals.
Where did that come from? That's not a traditional goal.
It's not. What it does is it monitors what you actually do. That's the distance I've walked today, not very far, to the refrigerator and back about 10 times, I think it was. And then this is the calories burned. So so it measures those simple things. You can upload it to a device, and so if you can, I put this here so you can see this, but this is the Garmin, the standard Garmin.
They have a nice
Connect.
website,
Yeah, you can just see that. It's not really that
important.
important.
And it's uploaded by Bluetooth automatically? Or?
Yes, it's uploaded by Bluetooth. It has this thing, this Ant device right here. If you want to use that again, you can see that. It's
a little
USB
dongle that goes in the USB.
Very tiny thing, easy to swallow, so be careful out there, kids.
Don't eat it.
Yeah, don't do that. It'll pass right through, and when it comes out the other end, it'll give you more data. No, don't try this at home. Now, this is, even though this is from Garmin, this does not have a GPS in it.
Right. Well, Garmin's famous for their GPSs.
That's right. And that's where we get to the actual reality of what this is. This is not a low-end fitness tracker. This is a high-end pedometer.
Well,
it doesn't,
you know what? So are many of these devices,
that's
frankly.
Right. But and I think this is one of the better ones. But this doesn't make any noise. It doesn't beep. It doesn't harass you with sound or vibration.
Okay.
But it has something really ingenious. You see that red at the top there?
Yeah, what's that?
That says that I've been sitting on my lazy butt. If for every hour that passes, it puts another little red bar there. And the thing that's really killing us these days is we sit all day long.
So
and this device will get you moving, because when you see that red bar coming, that means you've been sitting too long and you have to get up, and it'll go away. If you get up and walk around for a little while,
goes away.
It goes away. And so if you're committed to that, you'll avoid the trap of sitting too much.
I've always thought that these devices, they really are in most cases glorified pedometers. Their best use case is as kind of a coach, as a nudge.
That's right.
To say, hey, you haven't quite made your goal yet. I love the fact that it tells you you've been sitting a lot. And that's really, for a lot of us, that's all we need, just somebody to remind you, take the stairs today.
That's the main thing that is affecting our health, actually. And we don't need high-end, super high-tech fitness tracking as if we're training for the Olympics. We just need to get off our butts and walk around once in a while, not sit there all day. So it went into the connectivity options. It also connects to an app for both Android and iOS via Bluetooth. The connection can be a little bit flaky sometimes. So let's just go through the goals. It's automatic goal setting. So it sees how much you walk. And it says, okay, we're going to give you a goal that's a little higher than that. And if you meet that goal, it'll make it a little higher and a little higher.
I like that.
But the beauty of it, you don't have to set a goal. You don't
start at 10,000 steps, which most people do, and you never get close, and it's very frustrating. This way, you're always pushed to go a little more, a little more.
That's right. Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah, it's very gentle nudging, and again, it's all very visual on the watch. Unlike some of the other devices, like the Fitbit Flex or the Nike Fuel Band, which send the data somewhere else. You can't really see them that well on the device itself. This, the device, it's on the. You don't ever
what you need
to
is
connect
right
it.
there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's water resistant to 50 meters. It's slim. It's comfortable design and easy to wear. Those are the pros. The cons are that the display's not backlit, so you need good light.
Yeah.
If you don't have good light, you're not going to be able to see it at all. It's not good at detecting biking, swimming, weightlifting, or all kinds of other types of exercise. It'll basically tell you you've been sitting around even if you've been at the gym for 2 hours. So it's not good for that kind of fitness.
That is what bugs me because I don't do walking and running that much.
Yeah, that's right. So it's,
now, how about battery life? How often did you charge it?
That's one of the great things. You can't charge the battery. It uses watch batteries, but it lasts a year.
Oh, hallelujah.
An entire year.
No charging.
Too little. That's exactly right.
Love it.
And that's one of the great things about it. So I'm going to give this a buy simply for the following reasons. You put it on. You don't have to set goals.
Right.
You don't really have to connect it. You don't really have to do anything. It's very comfortable and light to wear. It's water resistant. You don't have to take it off in the shower. It's so low maintenance. It's zero maintenance. And then you can even forget about it for a week, and then you can go back in with the app and see what happened during that week. And so it's really compatible with a real life.
Right. No sleep monitor.
There is a sleep monitor. It's very kind of low tech. It notices how much you're moving around at night,
right,
and you can compare. And it's only good to say, wow, for the last week I've been really like moving
restless
around, or
yeah,
I must have been dead last night because it's flatlined there or something, whatever. It's only good by comparison, but it
right,
doesn't give you real data.
Well, the price is right. It's in the ballpark.
That's right.
I like the fact you don't have to charge it.
That's right.
And of course, that's no backlit screen. That's the reason. It doesn't take a lot of juice.
That's exactly right.
And you're going to give it a
I'm going to give it a buy because it's really, it's based on reality, not on the fantasy
right,
that you're going to become this, incredible trainer.
I like it. And that, a lot of these quantified self devices promise much more data than they actually deliver.
That's right.
Mike Elgin, he's the host of TNT every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1700 UTC. And thank you for your review of the what is it? The Vivo?
That's right. It's called the Vivo. It's called the Garmin Vivofit fitness band.
All right. As you can see, I am so fit, I don't need it. You know what I really like, and I wish that every device I have in my house did it, is Audible audio books. I listen to them all the time. If they put audio on that watch, and Audible books on that watch, that'd be a no-brainer.
I'll bet you the Apple iWatch.
Don't you think?
Audible.
Don't you think?
They will.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yep.
I don't get in the car. I don't go to the gym. I don't walk the dog. I don't do the dishes without my audiobooks. I sometimes don't even go to bed. I listen to audiobooks all the time, listening right now to The Martian, an amazing book. If you go to audible.com and browse around, you will find 150,000 titles. Current fiction, like Donna Tartt's new book, which we really loved. What's it called? The Goldfinch. The Martian, science fiction that Brian Brushwood recommended. I can't put this one down. Can't wait to find out what happens. Nonfiction, science, anything you're interested in. They've got so many titles. Here's the deal. Visit audiblepodcast.com/beforeyoubuy, and you're going to join up for the Gold account. That's a book a month, plus the daily digest of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. Cancel anytime in the first 30 days. If it's, it doesn't suit you, don't worry. You can cancel, pay nothing, but that book will be yours to keep. If you decide to stick around each and every month, you're going to have the toughest choice in the world, which is picking one of those 150,000 titles. But it's such a good feeling. So many great books at audiblepodcast.com/beforeyoubuy. I'm also listening. I had to take a break. It's a 48-hour book. The first of a 3-volume biography of the Beatles called Tune In.
Wow.
Awesome.
Really?
But I thought, I'm never going to, at this rate, The Martian, I won't be listening until 2018. He'll be home, he'll be having dinner, and so I wanted to listen to that book before. So I'm taking a break. You can do that with Audible. It's nice. The Audible app on Windows Phone, on Android, on iPhone is spectacular. On Windows 8 is just spectacular. Makes it easy to listen, easy to find. Try it out. audiblepodcast.com/beforeyoubuy. Now, I am going to review something that if you just glanced at it, you've got a MacBook Pro there. If you just glanced at it, you might say, oh, yeah, you got a MacBook Air, don't you? Except for the kind of the giveaway, the HP logo on the roof. This is HP's kind of, I think, response to the MacBook Air. It's their Spectre 13-inch Windows 8 Ultrabook. And like most Ultrabooks, there's certain things that all Ultrabooks have in common. This was a specification that Intel created for ultralight MacBook Air clones. It is a little heavier as the Ultrabooks go, 3 1/3 pounds. Nice screen, though, 1080p screen, and of course it's a touch screen.
which I think is important for Windows 8. What's nice about this is I've not been a fan of HP's laptops and desktops because of so much of the crapware on here, and there is some junk on it, but it is fairly light in terms of crapware. There's McAfee antivirus, and you can see right now it's also saying it has a little pop-up that says your HP warranty expires in 2015. Would you like to add to that? That's a no. I don't want to see that the first month I got the computer, but you are. It does something that's unique in the go away. Thank you. In the Ultrabook space, look at the size of that trackpad. That's because they've added ears on the trackpad to give it additional features, scroll bars, things like that. And one thing that I think makes Windows 8 a lot easier to use, you know that Windows 8 is touch focused. When you slide in from the side, you get the charms bar. Well, what's nice about this is you can also do that on the trackpad, and the ears will sense movement from either side, which I think makes this a little more intuitive to use. I do like the trackpad. It has that nice, smooth, glassy feel that really high-quality trackpads do. The keyboard is a little bit short on the throw, but it is backlit. It reminds me a lot of my Acer S7 keyboard. Not my favorite keyboard in the world, certainly not Mac quality or even Lenovo quality, but totally usable. And the build does feel really good. Nice brushed metal top and bottom, a little prone to fingerprints, but you know, I guess we're used to that in all of them. Good raised feet that make it very easy to keep this air conditioned from the bottom. And one feature I really like, it comes with Lightroom. Now, I think that that's a very big differentiator when it comes to these Ultrabooks. There's a lot of Ultrabooks in this class. This one's roughly $1,000. But the fact that it comes with a $200 piece of software that really, by the way, shows off the screen beautifully. I mean, you can really get a sense of how good this screen is. We're getting a little bit of strobing here. That's because it's not quite 60 hertz, and our cameras are getting a little bit confused by it. But I think it really does an excellent job. So, and, you know, it's Windows 8. I can do things like that. Oh, how exciting. Windows 8.1, as a matter of fact. McAfee's on here. In fact, you'll see some of the HP stuff that they've preloaded it. I'm going to give them a pass because it includes Lightroom, and we can still uninstall all that other HP stuff. The keyboard is probably my biggest negative. For I think a notebook in this price range, it probably should be a little bit better. It's also a little thicker and heavier than my favorite ultralight in this category, the Acer S7. But good battery life. I got about 9 hours of battery life. Really, actually pretty excellent battery life, in fact. And one thing that makes this a little bit of a standout, it's got Beats audio. It turns out HP still has a deal with Beats through the end of 2015. Even though Apple owns them, they can still put that Beats logo there. And if you're curious what that adds to it, let me play, and I'll use Mike as the sound tester here. Let me play a little audio. See if I can get this thing to do what I want it to do. And you can tell me, Mike, if you think this sounds good or not.
Do you have any Dr. Dre in there?
That would be appropriate, wouldn't it?
Only till next year, then it won't play Dr. Dre.
I think we could play, if the sensors will let us, we'll play a little straight out of Compton, maybe, something like that. How about some NWA here? This is the best of. That would actually be a good test because, frankly, the beats, the bass on this thing should sound really good. I'll turn it all the way
up. And Beats
up.
audio.
And Beats audio. It's not, I mean, look, it's a laptop. You run it, if you want to really rock the house, you're going to have better speakers attached to it. But it's still. He's going to be so great in the board meetings.
Yes.
Going forward at Apple Computer. I just can't wait to see how he takes over the place. So, pros and cons. On the pro side, really nice build. It's all metal. Feels good. Feels solid. It is, I think, for HP, a relatively unadulterated version of Windows 8. And I particularly like the fact that HP has decided to add Lightroom to this. It has a dedicated power on button. Also a nice feature on machines of this type. Great 1920 by 1080p screen. All of that's good. Then the negative, and let's not forget the touchpad, which I think is quite well done. And I kind of like the little ears. It adds some functionality to it. On the negative side, the keyboard is a little bit short in the throws, so it's easy to make mistakes. The sound is good, but not great. And it's thicker and heavier than I'd like. There are lighter laptops in this category. Around $1,000, depending on how you configure it. This i5 is kind of in the middle of the price point. I think it's a definite buy if you're in the market for a Windows 8 Ultrabook. This is absolutely a solid player in that category. I would say look at the Acer S7 for an extra thin version. I didn't mention it also has SD card, USB ports, a full-size HDMI port. That could be handy if you like to play to a big screen TV, and a mini display port on the side. So a buy on the HP Spectre 13. Now, one more thing we've got to finish up. This mug of water happens to have a phone in it, and it looks like the Kyocera Ultra, what is it called? The Vibe Glide Vibe? The Ultra, what? The Hydro Vibe has survived the entire show, dunked in water. So there you go. Jason reviewed it, and we've proved it. It is absolutely, it does survive
That's amazing.
in a mug of water.
Wow. Have you tried coffee?
That's amazing. No. Hey, thank you for joining us. Thanks to Mike Elgin, to Jason Howell, to Aaron Newcomb for their reviews. Thanks to you for joining us. We make all of these reviews available in a couple of ways. The full show is always available at twit.tv/BYB or wherever you subscribe to podcasts like iTunes. But we also make each individual review available so you can share it with friends or family if they're in the market for one of these devices at YouTube, youtube.com/Before You Buy. We'd love to hear your feedback, suggestions, products you'd like us to review. Email byb@twit.tv. Karsten Bondi or Tanya Hall, our producers, would be glad to see if they can get that product that you'd like to have reviewed on the show. Thanks for watching. And remember, come back next week because you got to watch before you buy. See you next time.